And I thought, oh man, I'm not going to be able to help my kids when they're older, and I'm not going to be able to meet any more of my grandkids and stuff. So I was really mad that here I tried so hard to be healthy, and kaboom. It started with just feeling full. Growing up, I always take all my emotions out of my stomach. And so I was really angry that it had snowed here and stuff, and I was just mad. So I thought it was just because I was mad. My stomach was a little sensitive, my abdomen area, and I was still feeling full 4 weeks later. And I had terrible night sweats, just drenching night sweats, but I didn't know anything about that. Then I felt a little bump, a bump like a end of a hot dog. Right near my belly button. And I had a lot of heartburn. I went to the doctor and I said, I want an echo for my heart. And he said, no, that's heartburn. And I said, okay, well, I need a CAT scan or something because I have a hernia or something in my stomach. So he did an abdominal ultrasound and did a bunch of blood tests and called me on Friday of a holiday weekend and said I had pancreatic cancer. I said, well, I don't have any of the symptoms of pancreatic cancer. And he said, well, maybe it's lymphoma, but I'll put in for a CAT scan. And nobody called me back. I called him. So by then my stomach was pretty painful. So I went to the emergency room and had a CAT scan, and they told me I had stomach cancer. And the ER doctor was great. She knew a gastroenterologist who could give me an endoscopy on Friday. So 2 days later, I got my endoscopy. Yes, stage 4 stomach cancer. He recommended me to go to an oncologist, and I made an appointment, and the earliest I could get, I think, was like 3 weeks. About 5 days later, I just felt kind of awful. So we went to the emergency rooms, and I had pulmonary embolisms in both lungs. And since I had cancer, they had to get an oncologist involved with my treatment. So I met my oncologist, and she's wonderful. So they put a port in while I was in the hospital for the pulmonary embolisms. And just a few days later, we started chemo. It was just very fortuitous. It was very nice. I did chemo, immunotherapy, and targeted therapy for 5 months, and then continued on the immunotherapy and targeted therapy for a few more months and had a progression. So then I started second line chemo and did that for 6 months. And now I'm just on a maintenance. One of the drugs was really tough on my mouth and gave me really bad mouth sores. And I couldn't, for like 5 days or so after, or maybe 10 days after, I couldn't really eat or chew. And then one of the other drugs gave me, I have a little hearing loss and some neuropathy. But the neuropathy really didn't start until after all the chemo was done. It was a delayed reaction. But I started feeling better almost immediately from, and I started feeling more energy. I mean, I felt like normal. On the days that my mouth wasn't hurting. So that was great. Just remain calm and hopeful. And everybody's different, but the oncologists have done this quite a bit. So you have to put your trust in what's going on, but also if it's not going well, you always have to say something. You have to tell your doctor every single side effect, everything, and then they can figure out how to mitigate. I feel like you kind of have a choice after the initial, anger and grief. You're moving through some stages of grief, but you have a choice whether to be, a sunny look at things on a sunny way and go and appreciate the outdoors and the change of seasons, or you can just be mopey and gloom and doom, and that's not gonna help. You just have to play the cards you're dealt, and that's just what happens. And everybody's got something, and this is mine. One of my goals is to show my children how to deal with, how to be graceful in death, or how to be strong, and try and set an example for my kids, even though they're in their 30s and they don't really want an example. To me, in my mind, is just giving me time to go and visit my mom and visit my aunt and get back on an airplane, and I've gone to movies, even though my weight count's a little low, it's still okay. And so I've been able to do that and go to restaurants and just have a semblance of a regular life, and I feel good.